Welcome to Rewind with Ellen. I'm your host, Ellen J. Wanjiru.
And I'm a co-host, Rougét Carter. What's up?
Rougét Carter, how are you?
I'm good. Woo, New York is on fire right now. We had hip hop.
I'm so glad you said that.
Going.
I'm so glad you said that. I know you watched the Lots versus Dipset and Versus on Tuesday. You are in New York or close to New York. What was the climate? What was the temperature? What did you think of that insanity?
So I went to a premiere for another movie, and I was taking the train back, and I actually rode City Bike to catch the train, the path, because I live in Jersey City. And when people started like coming out, I was like, yo. And to see just the old school outfits, the Timbs, the baggy pants, the hats, like people came out in all sorts of gear.
I lost your sound.
We're here now?
We're back. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I don't see you now, but now you're back. Okay, sorry about that. So the energy of New York was electric. I was a little nervous because old New York, and New York's been crazy right now. So I was like, oh, damn, I'm going to have to get into a fight tonight with people wilding out. But it was love, and I think only because the stage showed love and respect. Even though Jada was on his sober, I'm just going to burn you. The fire, man, the jokes. The one thing I love about Versus is just, listen, if you've never seen a Versus before, the comments alone are its own show. The comments alone is our show. But it was hip-hop. And then I watched Joper today, Fat Joe talking about it. He did a minute-by-minute breakdown of him being a fan and sitting in the audience and enjoying that. And it was just a great moment. So for all the people that still don't think hip-hop still exists and they hate the new ding, 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 ding and all this stuff, it was just a great vibe and a great moment in history, in Black history. This is Black history. Everybody understands Black history, Black movement. So it was beautiful. And there was no fighting. Like, I don't know if this could have gone down.
Listen, I thought at any moment a fight was
going. Oh, yeah.
Just the way they were carrying on back and forth. I'm like, y'all are somebody's grandfather out here. Like, there is no need for any violence.
I stretched before and after the show, too. Just that's how old I am. I'm like, ooh, I'm tired.
But I felt immediately transported back into the 90s, the best era, in my humble opinion. Jada, it was the Lox for me. Jadakiss once again showed why he is the hip hop MVP. And so what was thoroughly entertaining was the back and forth, the jokes going back and forth. My God. But even in that, I feel like Jadakiss did his thing, right? Because his whole platform was like, yo, this is real hip hop. We are supposed to spit without a track, without singing along to the track. And he kept hitting Dipset over the head with that. And I thought that was hysterical, but that speaks to the Lox's vibe. It was awesome. I laughed, I cringed. I was rocking back and forth, a lot of hits. I didn't know what was going on with Joel Santana in that outfit. Listen, the memes and the gifts.
The memes, yo, that's the best part of this.
Oh my God. That was the highlight.
I was like, oh man, they went in. I feel bad for Dipset right now. They went in on Dipset. It was pretty bad. But hey, it was entertainment, and I love that it was peaceful. So that's the biggest thing about it. We've grown. We've definitely grown as Black folks. Back in the day, I don't think this could have gone down so peaceful.
Oh, no way. I mean, it was 1,000 people on stage. That could have broken out into
what was that?
Any minute.
Come on up.
Right.
That was interesting too. But I had a good time. I hope everybody else did. It looks like it. Broke a lot of records, and also just the energy, man. I can't wait. Now there's a lot of pressure. Who's the next person up?
Right.
That's might need a break.
Right.
Summer off, and then September come back.
And it better be a good follow-up to that, because they set the bar kind of high in terms of hip hop. But yeah, all right. So we have a good show planned for tonight. We are talking and reviewing and discussing a romantic comedy, Resort to Love, and action thriller, Gunpowder Milkshake. Both films are available on Netflix. And so we're going to start with Resort to Love. Wait, I spoke too soon. Let me rewind. I need to issue an apology for mispronouncing Lagos last week. I kept calling it Lagos. It's actually Lagos. And so my mom got in my ears after the show. She called me. She was like, what kind of African are you? You can't be mispronouncing African cities like that. You're not representing properly. So then, because she heard me say in last week's episode that I'll be interviewing the directors on Tuesday. So what does she do? She calls me after the interview on Tuesday, and she's like, did you apologize to the Nigerians? I'm like, no, no, the apology isn't to them. I need to apologize on the episode, on next week's episode. She was like, okay, you make sure you do that. So my bad. I am sorry. Don't come for me. It's Lagos, not Lagos. All right. So moving on.
Mom, by the way, I love it.
So Resort to Love. Oh my God. I'm not sure what I expected with this film, but I'm glad that it exceeded my expectations. It stars Christina Milian, Jay Pharoah, Sinqua Walls as the main characters. And then the supporting characters are Christiane Pitts, Karen Gillan, Timberly Hill, and Alexander Hodge, to name a few. So this is the quintessential rom-com. Christina's character, Erica, she's sort of kind of mending or reeling from a broken heart and career meltdown. Like, that's a double whammy in my book. Like, you lose your man and you lose your career. Like, what? That's kind of rock bottom emotionally. And so she ends up taking, she's a singer, right, in the film, and she ends up taking a gig at a swanky island resort. But the catch is, her fiance happens to be getting married at that same resort. Now, this is the same fiance that left her however long ago. And now she has to kind of come to terms with her demons, her career, and, it crashing and burning, and then not being over her ex. But then here he is getting married to another woman. And what was crazy is that the ex, who's played by Jay Pharoah, his character's name is Jason, he kind of left without really telling her what was going on. So as you can imagine, it kind of leaves somebody in the lurch, like, wait, what happened? Where'd you go? I loved it. It was cute. It was funny. It was heartwarming. There's a lot to unpack here, but before I keep talking, what were your initial thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I went in there. I was like, ooh, Christina Milian. Ooh, it's been a minute, baby girl.
Of course.
So she still looked good.
She still got it.
I was like, all right. I got to work out now because the brother in the movie, he took his shirt off unnecessarily. That was just, I was like, I didn't even know bodies could do that anymore. It was, I work in the fitness industry. I keep a 2-pack just to keep me,
That's funny.
Keep me in place. 4 or 5, I get crazy. 2, I act a certain way. I behave. So anyway, dude, I can go into that later, but it was actually a fun film. I would say my only gripe is not seeing Denzel's face in Jay Pharoah, because so Jay Pharoah is known on SNL. People that don't know, he's great at doing voices and impressions. So he does an amazing Denzel Washington. So every time he does the look when he was trying to be serious, and I kept on seeing Denzel's face.
Did you?
Yeah, it kind of threw me off. But it was good. Everybody held their own. I wasn't like, oh, this is awful. It kind of reminded me of the show that we do, Run the World, where the girlfriends sort of come together, and that story I could see this as an episode, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of almost similar in a way, right? With them getting married, and it's coming up to that. I have tons of questions for you in terms of being a female, and, if you've ever been engaged and stuff like that. I don't know if you're going to open up the personal vault, but I have some questions for you about that a little later, about that part of the show. But I loved it. It's actually a fun, if you have a little shorty or somebody, good movie. I'm sorry, I'm still in the versus mode.
You're still in it.
Shorty, you got a little shorty, grab her up, say, baby, I got a movie for you.
In New York. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so Sinqua Walls, he plays Caleb, who is Jay Pharoah's character's older brother. And so because Jason is getting married in this resort, obviously the family is coming to be a part of this wedding. And so what I thought was fascinating was their decision to have Christina's character, Erica, eventually fall for Caleb, her ex-fiance's brother. I thought that was risque. Like, I don't know if people are out here, you know, dating each other's, you know, other people's that they dated brothers and sisters, but I thought it was kind of gangster. I thought it was gangster, but the way they acted it out, like the way it played out, I thought was kind of cool. It just showed like maturity in Jason and maturity in Christina and Caleb. Like, granted, once Jason, who's Jay Pharoah's character, realized what was going on, he was in his feelings for all of 2 seconds. But I just thought it was an interesting decision to have that be the love triangle between 2 brothers. That doesn't usually end well in practice in real life. Like, it sounds amazing in theory, but not so much in practice. I also loved the chemistry, the sibling chemistry between Jason and Caleb, younger brother, older brother. And if you remember, you know, there was a little bit of animosity between Jason, younger brother, to older brother. He always felt like his older brother was, you know, like he was in his older brother's shadow, you know, which is something a lot of siblings can relate to. What did you think of that dynamic between those 2 brothers?
Well, I feel sorry for Jay Pharoah because he was up against a man who looks like a.
I know, right?
I was like, really? That's what we're doing? This is what we're doing here? But no, they had great chemistry. I love the way they kind of bounced. I felt more that Jay Pharoah was the older brother, right? Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, because he was a lot more
reserved
from the maturity level, right? Whereas Caleb was just like trying to feel things out. You know, I just came from the younger brothers usually are more quiet. Whereas Jay Pharoah's character is more talkative, and Caleb's character just like had a couple of one-liners and just talk, hey, this is how I feel, this is what I did. Very short and sweet, right? He didn't give you enough energy behind it or how he felt. Whereas Jay Pharoah's character was giving you more of like what was going on. So I don't know, that gave me more of an older vibe.
Really? I thought it was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Caleb's maturity was largely due to his background. Obviously, him being an older brother, he was also a military man.
Yeah.
And also he was a support.
That's what I thought made him like that. I didn't take it as an older brother. It was more the military that made him more mature. That's how I took it.
Yeah, sort of like the reserved, quiet, right? Like, yeah, all right, I get that. But in terms of like who was the most mature from the 2, definitely Caleb for me. Just because but then I don't know that I want to say that, because the way Jay Pharoah's character kind of came to the decision towards the end, I thought was pretty mature, right? But that came with the help of his older brother, right? Like, who else to get, you know, good advice from, emotional advice from than an older sibling, the person that knows you best. I thought Christina Milian's acting was superb. For 2 seconds, I had forgotten how good she was behind the screen. I mean, I'm sorry, in front of the screen. She excels in rom-coms. I mean, she's done a few of them in the past, so there's no big surprise there. But there was something about this specific character that felt very natural for her, which does make sense because it sort of emulates her life as a singer, right? And you know, it's
Jennifer Hudson kind of setup, right?
Right.
They're amazing when stuff is like in their parameters of what they do. And so this was perfect setup for her. The only thing is, I love to sing karaoke. Do you understand how hard it is when you have a voice to sing awful?
Right.
People don't understand that. Like when she was singing like the first couple songs, started crying. I was like, yo. And not to be like a trained actress and a trained singer and not be like, I don't know how to do this. So I love that kind of level too. That was fun to see that.
That was honestly my favorite scene, that karaoke. Not even karaoke.
That was karaoke. She was performing the wedding.
When she first sang at the wedding in this resort, and you know, it's her first time singing since her breakup, and she just broke down. So she's singing and crying at the same time, and then doing this awkward 2-step dance. Man, I hollered the entire time. I thought she did a really good job delivering that scene, because to your point, that's not easy as a trained singer to come across as if you're not, right? And also juggle crying and dancing. And so she did reveal in an interview I had with her that she had artistic liberty in that scene.
Oh, wow.
to just do one, do as many takes as she wanted to do, and then two, just be as crazy in that scene as she needed to be. Hence why she kept doing it over and over so it could come across the way that it did. I thought the supporting characters were incredible. Her girl, who is the one that sort of persuaded her to go to this resort to get her groove back, I thought she was amazing. She wasn't in a lot of scenes. She was kind of in the beginning and then a little bit at the end. But then in the middle, Beverly Christiana Pitts, who plays Jason's fiance, I thought she was incredible. Oh my God. Like,
oh yeah, beautiful on the screen too.
Yes. I need to see her.
I was like, oh, what was
She's beautiful and her acting was superb. And I'm almost embarrassed to say I don't know that I've seen her in anything prior to this, and I'm sure she has been, but I'm hoping now moving forward we will see more of her.
I only have two gripes in this film. We can go from there. But she wore Tim's.
Yo, that's the New York.
Come on.
The New York in her.
In life, when people bring Tim's to the beach, stop it.
I thought that was dope. I thought that was kind of like an ode to, yo, this is me.
About the, come on.
This is me. I'm from New York. I'm bringing Tim's. Like, you just never know.
And then Alexander Hodge, Christian, he played the Asian dude that's from Insecure. I love him. Yo, he's a cool brother. Give him some more lines. Give him something to work with. That's my only gripe. Those two points in the movie. But it's a lot of fun. And then when he comes out of the water and he's got the hair in his arms, I'm like, really?
That was epic.
And he's like, hold on, I'm gonna rinse this out right quick.
They got the right man to play that scene.
Like, I was like, is he even gonna? He probably doesn't even have to act. Just
show up without a shirt.
With your shirt off. That's what you're gonna do. You're fine.
All right. So, what are your questions?
Oh, have you ever been proposed to?
No.
No. Okay, that was quick. I was hoping it was gonna be a lot more fun.
Right.
No. All right. And if you were on the other foot, would you date your sister or girlfriend's like ex? So you're the brother situation, but let's say it's one of your girlfriends or if you have a sister, it's her ex. They've already been broken up. The same scenario. You wind up going somewhere. You meet this guy. You find out it's her ex later. Are you still going through with it or no? So
no, I don't know that I would date my sister's ex. But ironically, the brother of the ex. That's what I meant.
The
brother of the ex. Oof, that just sounds so messy. We would have to have an adult conversation. And we would just we would need to talk about that, right? Especially if there's like a lot of potential in that.
Yeah.
It would really have to be a glaring sign like, oh my God, this is my person. Let's figure this out. Yeah, but I'm not dating my sibling's ex. Now my ex's brother? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Okay. All right. It's not your sibling's ex, but your ex's brother, maybe.
I mean, so what this film showed me is that, especially if my ex was getting married, why not? If it made sense, it would have to make sense. Like, what if this was the love of my life? Like, what if? And so I just have to I have to throw it away because I dated your brother. Screw him, he's getting married. So yeah, there's a lot of variables involved. Next.
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
Watch your men out there. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, if you haven't seen Resort to Love, check it out. It's such a cute film. It's heartfelt. It's all about love and family and just making grown up decisions and being a big girl. And also, a big boy in that sense. I mean, and really quickly, and Jay Pharoah's character, Jason, I loved that he was the type of man that wasn't afraid to speak about his vulnerability. He wasn't afraid to say, like, yo, the reason I left is because I didn't feel needed. Like, that's not something Black men specifically are like shouting from the rooftop, like, yo, I don't feel needed and this is why I left. They'll just leave or just, fake up an excuse. So I love that this film depicted, the positive side of being vulnerable and being honest about how you feel, regardless of who you are. I think that that's awesome. That's key. All right. So moving on to our next film, Gunpowder Milkshake, also on Netflix. This is an offbeat action thriller film. It's starring Karen Gillan. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Lena Headey, Angela Bassett, Carla Gugino, and Michelle Yeoh as the mains, and of course Paul Giamatti and Jim McAllister. McAllister, sorry, as the supporting characters. So when I saw this on Netflix, the first thing that caught my eye was the title. I love it. I'm obsessed by it. Gunpowder Milkshake. It makes no sense until you actually watch the film. And then I saw that Angela Bassett was attached to it. So I was like, oh, all right, I'm in. I don't need any.
It's a Black film. Gotta be Black film.
It's a Black film.
Definitely Black film. Let's do it.
Well, the film is about a young assassin who must team up with her estranged assassin mom and her former assassin colleagues in order to save a young girl from other assassins. So it's an assassin-heavy film. It's female-centric, which is another reason I, got pulled into it, because it's a fantastic character cast. I think they all did a superb job. And so, it's a fantastic roster of actors. That's what I meant to say. And so I didn't know what to make of this going in, especially when we got to the scene of the bowling alley fight. I was like, all right, y'all want me to believe that this 125-pound girl is just beating off just, 3 men all at the same time? But then I was like, all right, let me pay attention, because it's one of those movies that there's a lot more to it than what meets the eye. So I will stop there and throw it to you, because you'd already watched it. By the time I got to you to be like, hey, check it out, you were like, I already watched it. So what did you think about it?
Love action. For some reason, I love female character roles. They just kick ass. I honestly, I can watch any movie whatsoever, women kicking ass, as long as I don't see like the stuntman in certain scenes, like, when
right.
Too much and it's all backhead. But as long as there's equal distribution of the face with the back of the head and doing some moves, I'm all about it. This is fun. I mean, Lena Headey is my favorite. Cersei's from Game of Thrones. I'm a big fan of Cersei. She's but I love that she kind of toned it down, right? So we're used to seeing Cersei and like, I will just off with your head. But she was very militant and had discipline with, hey, I have to do everything in my powers to keep my daughter alive, and I'll do it by any means necessary. I could see a prequel coming from this movie, maybe. Or a sequel or a prequel, but I would love to see, I love all these characters, but I would love to see a backstory of how they started. The younger, I think it's a great story that could be developed there. A lot of fun. Karen Gillan, she's all over. She's blowing up. Jumanji did in. I mean, her checks must be crazy right now. All the end games for people that don't know. So she's hit after hit after hit. So to have her first leading role is huge. She was also in Doctor Who. She's a Scottish actress, so she's been around for a minute, but now on the American stage, she's blowing up. Paul Giamatti, what more can I say? One of my favorite actors. To work in Brooklyn. He would walk around and just be mumbling to himself, but he was reading lines. I got later on, I was like, who's this crazy guy? Just walking around and talking to himself. And I was like, oh. Later on, I realized I saw a young Paul Giamatti before the Wine movie like blew his career up.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And so I just saw this guy mumbling all the time. I was like, what is this guy doing? And he was rehearsing. He would literally walk around the promenade in Brooklyn and just recite his lines over and over again. And now he's a huge actor. This movie reminded me of a movie in 2007 called Shoot 'Em Up. And he played this sort of bad guy with Clive Owen. and as well as rom-coms, like kind of shoot-up films. So the good thing about it, I don't take those films serious. I just have a good time because I know it's just going to be blood and gore and kind of do that. Now, there's sometimes when they kind of push the envelope of unrealistic stuff that happens. And so you have to be one of those people that are prepared for like, okay, I'm going to let this go. Or be like, no, you can't do that. You just can't. There's no way. There's no way you can do that. You'd be one of those. So I'm glad it was one of those films that you can just have a good time. Angela Bassett looks great as well. One last thing. Shout out to her. $450,000 for a black woman to make money, to make some big money on a show. Shout out to her. When I first, I was thinking in my head, I was like, really? I think about eating black. That's crazy. Think about all the shows where people are making $1 million episodes, from Seinfeld to Friends to How I Met Your Mother, and I'm like, she's the only. In
2020.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Crazy to me. So she's still. I think she should have been the original Storm for X-Men. That's a whole nother conversation. But she still looks good because she was always just so strong and could check you just with her eyes. So whereas Holly was like, "Hey, I did. So all right, I'm done."
Gosh, so many points to piggyback on there. Goodness gracious. Yeah. So let's start with Lena Headey of Cersei. To your point, she still had some intensity. This character, Scarlet, she was still intense. Like I feel like that's just Lena's MO. She's intense when she needs to be, because I still saw bits and pieces of Cersei in there, just with her, with the look in her eye or how she pursed her lips. Love that. I loved seeing Angela Bassett like straight up kicking ass. Like the scene in the diner at the end, I don't mean to fast forward, but when they do the slow motion and you just see her just like, I was just like, oh my God, look at Angela. She is doing her thing. I'm a huge fan of Carla Gugino. She played Madeline, who's one of the 5 members of the Sisterhood of Assassins. She was dope. And also Michelle Yeoh, who is also a member of the Sisterhood of Assassins. I feel like it was a really strong cast of women. And I loved that not only was it just action thriller, just violence and venom, but there was like this underlying plot, right? Like the underlying plot was this damaged relationship between mother and daughter. Like that's what the basis of all this is in my eyes, right? Lena's character, Scarlet, is Sam's, Karen's mother. And she kind of leaves her in the lurch at a young age because she's on the run. She did a job and, she didn't do it the way she was supposed to do it. So now she has to, go on a run or she'll end up dead. And so she leaves her daughter in this diner. And so that's where everything starts, at this diner. And so, her daughter, Sam, who's played by Karen, grows up to be an assassin, right? Like, what else are you going to be? And so I thought it was dope that this film started at the diner and ended at the diner, right? I thought that was a key background and
no spoilers here. No spoilers.
I mean, that's what we do here sometimes. Sorry, I'm going to try my hardest not to. But yeah, so I did appreciate that serious plot underneath all this, the action and the thriller. And then just the idea of like a library is sexy. Like library and literature and books. Like that's
I was writing down books. I was like, oh, I got to read this author. I was like, oh,
absolutely. I mean, that's once we got to that part, I was just like, oh my God, okay, you guys have my full attention. I mean, Little Women, I don't know that dudes are going to be familiar with Little Women, but for sure, Little Women, I mean, Agatha Christie. I loved Agatha Christie books as a kid. Louisa May Alcott's classic is the Little Women, Charlotte Bronte. And so the whole idea of this library was all these books stored guns, miniature guns in them. Like they'd cut out the inside of the books. And that's where guns were stored. So I thought that was kind of dope. And then the irony is these books, the characters in these books are all women, and they're all women who are dealing with professional versus personal life, which is kind of what the film was struggling with in terms of Scarlet Scarlett's role and her being a mother or being an assassin. What am I going to do? I'm going to choose to be an assassin. So I think
that's the Scarlet Letter.
Say that again.
Maybe she's representing the Scarlet Letter, like she's, you know, from the actual.
Maybe. I mean, that didn't come out in the movie, but
I mean,
you just added your own book in there. I see what you did there, bud.
See what I'm saying? It's going deep.
It's going deep. So yeah, I thought it was kind of special. It has this super stylistic element in the way that it's shot, like the colors, the set design.
Very
you
bright.
know, yeah, it's very bright considering it's such a dark film. Like it's shrouded in darkness, but everything else, it's bright. There's neon colors. I mean, the slow motion scenes for me were everything. And I have a couple of favorite fight scenes that I want to talk about, but I'll go ahead and say what else you need to say about this.
No, I went on a rant before we even started the whole thing.
You did? I mean, I just got off of a rant. Okay.
Fight scenes are great. Those are, like I said, those are great. You tell me your favorite, and I'll add on to that.
I mean, there were so many. I mean, the first one, well, I talked about this earlier, the bowling scene. I don't know that was my favorite, but that was the first time I was just kind of like, I'm not sure. But then the scene immediately after that with the guys in the mask in the garage who, after they steal the money, they blow themselves up. I was just like, wait, what's happening? Okay, I think I kind of like this. This is zany. It doesn't make any sense, and I love it. And then, of course, the scene with Sam, who the assassin doctor injects her with some numbing agent.
Yeah, and I was like,
now her hands can't work. So what does she do? She gets this little girl who. So I won't spoil that. She has this little girl tie a gun and a knife to her hands, so now she can fight 3 bad guys, and she does. And I was just like, wait a minute, what? Okay.
Beat them up earlier, and they were so loaded on drugs that they were just like, I think I'm never gonna be able to walk again.
Well, she beat them up the first time and then killed them the second time, not even with no use of her hands. Like, what? That was pretty dope. And of course, the library standoff was epic, right? That was towards the end. Yeah, and that actually was the longest fight sequence, rightfully so. And I love the scene where Scarlett comes jumping like over whatever that thing is, to save her daughter. And of course, the diner shoot 'em up scene was epic. I want to say every fight scene was epic. Now, come to think of it.
No, no one was. Yeah, it didn't disappoint. It just flowed with the movie.
Right.
It makes me believe that there's another world that I don't know about. Like code word, right? It's just like at this point there has to be another kind of dimension that we don't know about. There's a secret code and there's secret things. I don't know if I want to find out, but I don't believe it's out there somewhere.
Interesting. Okay. So to your point, this film also reminded me of one of my favorite old school movies, Leon the Professional, 1994 film. It starred Natalie Young, Natalie Portman, and
The Professional.
Jean Reno.
It's called The Professional, not Leon the Professional.
So, but Jean's character in there was Leon, right?
It was by The Professional.
But yes, it's called The Professional. Okay.
Leon the Professional. No one knows that.
Potato patata. Okay. But yes, The Professional. I love that film, right? It has this little girl who needs protection. And so, this assassin kind of takes her under his wing, which was kind of the same with this, except the assassin was a woman. And so then to your point, will there be a sequel? Because now this little girl is the 5th member of this Sisterhood of Assassins. Right. And so will she grow up to be one of them? I can see that, right? Because then this is a little biracial assassin. I'm here for that. There's some color in there. Let me see that.
Mix it up. All right.
Right. Mix it up a little bit. So you agree that all the fight scenes were everything then, yes?
Yeah, they were fun. I mean, anytime you can have fun in a bowling alley. I was like, because the bowling alley is, listen, man, I don't know the last time you went bowling, but a bowling ball, that can really damage. And so to see her move that, I was like, ooh, taking a knee out and then all that stuff. Good fight scenes, good acting, just a fun time. I mean, you can't take it all serious, just have some fun with it. It's one of those types of movies. It was very comic book-ish.
Yeah.
Those sparks of color were meant to be like a wham, bang, like old school Batman, like pow, wow, all those things. That's what it was. And you felt that on the screen. I was like, oh, this is great. So yeah, hopefully I'm down for a sequel, Netflix, or a prequel.
Right. Yeah. I can see that. Just the way they left it off too. I can see that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't checked out Gunpowder Milkshake, please do so on Netflix, just for the sake of just supporting women kicking ass and taking names. Like, yeah, it was pretty epic in that sense. All right, so that wraps up our show, episode 27. Thank you so much for watching.
27?
27, bro.
27? All right.
27. No, we're gonna cap it at 30. Season 2 begins.
Oh, we take a break. Oh.
I don't know about taking a break, but
okay. First, we're gonna take a break here. Yourself, kids, don't put gunpowder in your milkshake.
Yeah. Again, that title is everything. Listen, a catchy title for anything, that's the first thing people see. So kudos to whoever came up with the Gunpowder Milkshake. Gunpowder milk. And it took me a minute to get it, but I got it. Right. Better late than never. Anyway, thank you, Ro. Good chat. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week, next time, same place.
Wait, what's name next week? Is it Respect next week?
Well, Respect drops on Friday.
Oh, we got 2 weeks for.
So I know.
Dane Wayne. Sorry.
Huh?
When are you doing the interview with Dane Wayans?
So I did the interview with
Marlon
Wayans. I'm going to publish it next week. I think Tuesday.
You're killing me.
Yeah, I mean, I have to publish it the week of the film, but then we can't really talk about it until the following week.
All right, 2 more weeks, people. I'm sorry. 2 more weeks.
I know, it's killing me. It's killing me softly. So yeah.
Oh man, because I gotta start writing notes. I don't remember now at this point. I gotta go see it now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch it again too, just for that, because it's so when we saw it was July 13th. It's gonna be a month.
Yeah.
Since you and I went to the screening to see it, so
that'd probably be interesting to see it again. We should talk offline.
Yes.
See it again the second time. All right.
Agreed. All right, my friend. You have yourself a good night again. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.